If I were to say to you, what's the best job in college football? What would you honestly say? Like right now, today,
Any job?
with NIL and everything, what is the best job in college football?
Oh man, that's a good question. I would, LSU is up there because they've got massive, massive checkbooks. USC and maybe I would probably still say like Ohio State is like
I see, and here's the
Ohio
thing.
State's great.
I would say Ohio State, in my opinion, is the best job in football.
Yeah, no, I think I would agree because they have so many factors that go
The
into play. They
brand,
play in the
the
Big Ten.
facility, the Big Ten.
They're in a really good state for high school football. They have a wide reaching
Yes.
pool of recruiting, and they've got massive checkbooks.
And to my
They do
now, I know I'm wearing a Michigan sweatshirt. I bought this when I was in middle school, and I still have it. And so I am not like a diehard Michigan guy.
Yeah,
Saying
I remember that Michigan
I
hoodie. That's
literally had
amazing
this.
that you still have that.
I still rocking it.
It's in good shape.
Uh, no joke. I think Ohio State is the best job in football. But if I were to say, what is the job where it's like you have the best chance to win a national title? I think I would say LSU, because we've seen it happen with LSU in the last 25 years with Les Miles, with Nick Saban, with Coach O, and with the recruiting that they could do. And now with Lane Kiffin, that saga was really interesting. I didn't think Lane would leave. I'm not surprised that he
Yeah.
left, but I thought that now in the world of NIL and transfer portal, Ole Miss and LSU aren't that far apart. But I do think there's something to just saying I want to take the big boy, the biggest big boy job, and that is the biggest big boy job available, and you go for it.
Right. Yeah. I mean, I don't know, obviously, like his motivations personally or whatever. He claims that, money hasn't been a factor for several stops at this point. And maybe that's true. I mean, the guy has a lot of money. He's made a lot in his career. I do think he has been fairly outspoken about NIL and the dangers and issues around the landscape, but he's demonstrated a good awareness of how you can easily take advantage. I think he's poised in this scenario where he's probably saying to himself, there's no loyalty in college football anymore, and there probably hasn't been for a long time. So it's not just about the players or the administrations, it's the coaching. It extends to the coaches too. So why do I have to play ball? And this isn't to defend him, by the way, because it feels really gross to leave a team in the middle of a national championship run. That feels pretty bad. So I'm not defending that at all. But it does seem like a move in which Lane Kiffin's saying, because the reports are that he's going to get $25 million in NIL money to spend. It's a massive, massive purse. I think he's saying, one, there's no loyalty in college football. So I'm going to go to LSU, which is a great job. They're giving me $25 million. I'm going to go and expose how broken this system is. And I'm going to just buy up, a third of the greatest prospects that are out there in the transfer portal,
And he already
probably bring a third of Ole Miss with me. And we're just going to create an absolute monster. And college football is going to have to contend with it. And that's just how the game's played. I think he's here to go scorched earth on college football.
Illinois' #1 tight end recruit committed to Ole Miss, and he just announced today he's swapping and going to LSU. He's following Lane to LSU.
There you go.
And what I love so much about what Lane Kiffin is doing is because Lane is probably one of the very few people who's capable of doing it, in the sense that Lane, if you remember 5 years ago, had fallen off the map to where he had, 7-8 years ago, had just had to take the offensive coordinator job at Alabama
too.
and then his head coaching opportunity after the championship winning offensive coordinator was Florida Atlantic. They were the only ones who'd give him a chance because of the USC drama, the Tennessee drama, the Raiders drama. And Lane's looking to go now, like, what's the worst that can happen? If in 4 years they fire me, I get a giant buyout. I've made so much more money. And you know who's going to hire me? Florida Atlantic or someone like that, and he'll just start the rise again. Like he'll just go on a Big Ten school as someone
And
would
he's
hire
not
him.
like 75.
Yeah,
It's like
I think
he's
it's so
made so
smart.
many stops and he's still
It's
fairly young.
it's so smart. And if it goes well, you win a national title, you cement your legacy, and then maybe you go to the NFL or you stay there and you become the next Saban, Kirby Smart dynasty. You know what I mean? Like, I think it's so smart. I think he truly looked in the mirror and goes, "What's the worst that could happen? I'm back at FAU in 5 years. Fuck
Yeah.
it, I'll go back to
Making
FAU,
millions too.
and then in 10 years, I'll be back at a Big Ten or SEC school making the calls again." So
Yeah.
I know it's a little college football to start, but as we get the college
I
football,
mean, you got to be good at what you do as well to be
Yeah.
able to pull that off. And he
is,
obviously
and
is.
so I loved that college football kind of drama of the weekend, and as we await the college football playoff and the championship weekend, there's a lot of NFL teams, Dan, that we're going to start focusing less on, who are going to be focusing a lot more on what's happening in college,
Yeah.
as they start looking towards the draft here, and we're post Thanksgiving, so it's starting to focus on the playoffs.
Absolutely. Well, we're going to talk Turkey Day. We're going to talk Black Friday games and then really look big picture at the playoff scope as we sit here today entering week 14 in the NFL. All right, we'll start with Thanksgiving games. We'll go to Black Friday and talk about the shirtless Ben Johnson heard around the world, and then dive into the playoff picture as it stands right now. Mark, will start with the first game of Thursday, Packers at Lions. Both of us, I believe, had Detroit winning this game. We were both pulling for Detroit as well. Packers come away with a 31-24 victory. What is becoming a classic Jordan Love yo-yoing of throwing one touchdown pass for 4 games and then exploding here
For 4
in somewhat predictable fashion for 4 touchdowns himself to get the win. Despite efficiency, Jared Goff was 20 of 26. They're just not getting enough juice offensively, I felt, although 24 points should have been enough to win a game of this magnitude for Detroit. So I can't fault the offense too much on that front, but a little bit of a weird game. Now it's the Green Bay Packers in front of Detroit in the NFC North standings with your Chicago Bears leading the way. Your takeaways from this one to start the week?
Well, my big one is that, Detroit's offense didn't look totally in sync, but when you have no Laporta going into the game and then you lose St. Brown in the first possession of the game,
Yeah.
Jameson Williams stepped up big, 7 catches, 144 yards at a touchdown. They gave it to Gibbs 20 carries, only 68 yards. Montgomery had the 8 carries for 32 and a touchdown. So they got good production out of their backfield overall, but it just felt like they were missing too much of the explosion of their offense. And Goff, to his credit, as you mentioned, 20 of 26. Like, he played as well as he could. They were 0 of 2 on 4th down. That really was kind of those
Again,
two.
yeah, they are not converting on 4th down.
And you know what? It just feels like if I'm a Detroit Lions fan, I'm not devastated. I'm not panicking. I think it's just you look at you go, I feel better than even if we miss the playoffs. I still feel like we have an identity, we have a head coach, we have pieces that, hey, maybe, you need to find a new offensive coordinator. Maybe we search outside of the building, right? And we shore up the offensive line a little bit. Like, I don't think I'm panicking on Detroit. And I still think Detroit is a great chance to make the playoffs. They still have everything in front of them. A huge game coming up in about 48 hours as they host the Cowboys on Thursday Night Football. That's kind of an elimination game for both those teams. Winner feels like they're going to have a real path to the playoffs. And for Green Bay, give them credit where it's due. Jordan Love has these games, man, and when he does, it just feels like everything goes right for him. And when it does, he is truly a special player. I mean, Wicks, 6 catches, 94 yards, 2 touchdowns. Watson, 4 catches, 80 yards, a touchdown. Watson feels like the one. Like, he feels like the explosive, the one, the kind of extra level this offense needed and didn't have. And then when Tucker Kraft left, it's kind of like, all right, now it's like, hey, we have an explosive element back in it. Dobbs got involved. Matthew Golden is coming back. Jayden Reed is coming back. So the Packers, I think they're kind of peaking at the right time, playing really good football at 8-3-1. And obviously they host the Chicago Bears with, again, complete control of their future.
Yeah. Are you kind of happy that they're playing Chicago coming off of this performance versus a beatdown? How would you have liked them to come into this?
Yeah, that's funny. I think if the Bears had lost and it didn't look great, then I would have thought, oh man, I'm really not happy that the Packers, have won and are peaking right now.
Yeah, because then the Packers come in with an opportunity to kind of shut the door on the North.
For the first time in a long time, I just feel so good about what my football team is doing.
Yeah.
And the identity of my football team. We'll talk a lot about that coming
up. How's that feel?
It feels it's so funny.
Weird.
My wife was like, "You're so quiet, like watching the games," and she's like, "Normally you're
got confidence.
Normally you're just like you're frustrated or you're what." I'm like, "Well, I know how to watch losing football. I am not accustomed to watching winning football."
Yeah,
and so I'm still getting used to that. And well, listen, I want to focus on the Packers and Lions here. It's a tough loss for Detroit. You're at home. It's in division. But again, divisional games are tougher. Divisional games can go either way. We'll see it when we talk about what happened later that night on Thanksgiving. So if I'm Detroit, you lose at home in a divisional rival against a really good division rival. It sucks. It really sucks. But you know what? You still are 7-5. You still have a lot of season in front of you with some big games where if things go your way, like they do on Thursday night, you're going to be just fine. You're going to be just fine. Now, I don't know if Detroit is a Super Bowl team. It's starting to feel a little bit more like Green Bay may be a Super Bowl team and Detroit may not be. And I think that has something to do with I think it's a death by a million cuts a little bit for Detroit. I do think they're lacking some offensive creativity. I do think defensively they're not getting enough explosive plays, turnovers, and you're not seeing a defense that's flying around and creating havoc. And then I think when you add Porter, no St. Brown, it just didn't look right. Didn't look right.
Yeah, a little disjointed for sure, but no real issues with the Lions moving forward. They are 7-5, and I mean, to your point, next week is a big game against the Cowboys because in the NFC, 6 losses is okay. Like wild card teams are going to have 6 losses. So now you're in a situation at that point where you can't lose another game because I don't even know how many 10-7 teams are going to make the playoffs from the NFC. That's how good the NFC is. If they were in the AFC, it'd feel much, much better. The Chiefs went on the road to the Dallas Cowboys and lost. That was a rough loss there for Kansas City, 31-28. I don't know how to feel about Dallas. I mean, their offense is really good. I think that much is evident that they are coming along as the season has progressed to where they're one of the better offensive units in the league. I don't think their defense is particularly imposing, which is why I'm not scared of Dallas. But I mean, Dallas is at 6-5-1 now, Mark. That tie may come in handy to help them out. We're seeing the Eagles kind of falter a little bit as well. So I'm not sure if I'm willing to rule out Dallas just yet from a playoffs standpoint. Meanwhile, Kansas City is on life support right now at 6-6. But I will say this, if Kansas City finds their way into the playoffs, it's still going to be hard to root against Kansas City to say that they're not going to have a chance because they're that team that you could say, oh, okay, well, they could easily go to the Super Bowl because the AFC is just not very imposing. So of all of the losses, you could say some were bad losses. This isn't the worst loss, even though Kansas City is in a tough spot. They lost to an NFC team. This would have been much worse if it was a loss to the Bills here at this time of the year or something like that.
Well, I think the win was really important for both teams. And for the Cowboys, to put in perspective, the fact that they got the win, it still opens up the fact that they could get to 11 wins, right? And so you have to start looking at what your win total can be. And in the NFC, 11, if you get to 11 in the win column, you should be in the playoffs. Now, you may not win your division, but you should be in the playoffs. 10 in the win column, as you said, is not a guarantee in the NFC. It's just not. To put that in perspective, the Bears at 9-3, if they lose this weekend at 9-4, will go from the 1 seed to the 7 seed. So that's what you're dealing with.
I think 10 wins for Dallas gives them a better shot because they'll have one less loss, right?
Yes. So
that's important.
And that's why, again, it was so important for them to get this, because 10 wins is still very in play, because they don't have to win out to get 10 wins. You can still drop a game and get to 10 wins. So huge for them. For Kansas City, 10
Mahomes
wins is still
great, by the way. He played really well.
Yeah. I will say this. In watching this game, I didn't realize, like, I couldn't put my finger on what it was that the Chiefs are struggling, right? Like, I've watched so much Chiefs football, and you're like, well, Mahomes is playing well. I mean, they were 3 of 3 on fourth down. Like, what? Like, Rice had 2 touchdowns, 8 catches, 90 yards. Kelsey was involved, 5 catches, 45 yards, touchdown. And then you start looking to go, well, yeah, they scored 28 points on the road. It wasn't the offense. And so I listened to Nick Wright today, noted probably the biggest Chiefs media person in the mainstream sports media. Definitely. He's on Colin Cowherd, as he is always Tuesday, and I love listening to his segment at the top of the second hour. And I was waiting, like, okay, when are they going to give him a chance to talk about the Chiefs? And when he got to the Chiefs, he said something really interesting, and I was like, I got to make sure we talk about this. He said, he's like, the concern is that what did the Chiefs have they done over the last 3 years in the 3 straight Super Bowl runs? He's like, they were the number 3 team over the last 3 years in getting off the field on 3rd and long. He's like, Steve Spagnuolo would get you into 3rd and long and then would never let you get off the field. And then you give the ball back to Mahomes, and Mahomes goes on a methodical drive or one explosive play drive, and then you're sinking, right? Well, in this game, apparently, as Nick Wright said, the Chiefs were 6 for 6 on giving up long 3rd downs to Dallas. And so he didn't get into what's the cause of that. But I think, to me, you can diagnose a couple things. Chris Jones isn't Chris Jones anymore, right? He's still a Hall of Famer. He's still a great player, but he's not Chris Jones. And then you have guys like Karlaftis, who's a really good player, but he's not Aiden Hutchinson. He's not Max Crosby. And you start to look at, when you're picking consistently,
they don't have superstars.
You're picking consistently the bottom of every round of the draft, not just the first one, but in the bottom of the second, bottom of the third. I just think it's a catch up. Like, they have a lot of B guys now who are in really important roles, and it's just not good enough when you're also not able to really pay for a star running back and pay for star offensive linemen, because you're paying for Kelsey and Mahomes and some other in Chris Jones. So, listen, Kansas City, they have a huge game, Sunday Night Football against the Texans. That's going to be one of the marquee games, can't miss games next week. The loser of that game is in real trouble. Both desperately need a win. And then for the Cowboys, we mentioned, they're at the Lions. I'll say this about the Cowboys. The one thing I like about Dallas right now is they know who they are. They know we're going to give up 28 points at home. We can't. Our defense is getting better. Quentin Williams has been a factor. Jadeveon Clowney had 2 sacks. I didn't know he was on Dallas.
I didn't either. I know.
2 sacks. So they're piecing things together. But this offense right now looks almost unstoppable. It's a top 3 offense in the NFL right now. And Dak, to his credit, when he's healthy, he's having another hell of a year. And he's doing this now.
Really good year.
He's going to make the playoffs with 3 different head coaches, maybe. You know what I mean? Like, and multiple different offensive coordinators. And he's in year 10, like multiple iterations of this Cowboys team. I'm not saying he's a Hall of Famer, but his career is looking better and better and better and better as I'm finding it harder to poke holes in Dak Prescott's not a top 10 QB this year. Like, It definitely feels like no, he belongs in the conversation. He's a top 10 quarterback this year right now.
Yeah, no, he's playing phenomenally. George Pickens is otherworldly. I mean, having him and CD, it's no question that they are the best duo in the league. Better than Chase and Higgins, in my view. And so that's a huge part of it. I will say the last note on Kansas City, it feels like obviously like the first several years of Mahomes, everything was working well offensively, but their big thing was that they were hitting on big plays a lot, right? It wasn't just a random 1 or 2 big plays a game. They were hitting like 6. And then it went to more like methodical. They would just chip away, but always get down the field in those short West Coast style spurts. This year, offensively, it seems like they're kind of getting like the worst of both. Like they're getting some big plays, but they're not getting enough of like the short plays and then sustaining drives.
Yeah.
Like even there, this was like a microcosm this game, but like these drives between the second and third quarter, 7 plays, 29 yards. Like they're not getting anything out of the 7 plays. 8 plays, 16 yards.
Oh, it's ugly.
3 plays, 5 yards. 7 plays, 19 yards. Those are second and third quarters.
7 plays to go 19 yards.
Yeah, like
for the Chiefs.
They're not even getting the short, quick hitting screen plays aren't going for much, and they're not moving down the field enough. So
yeah,
those are problems. They're not running the ball, efficiently and success. They did a little bit in this game, but overall, the run game has left a lot to be desired. So yeah, it's just kind of a weird year for Kansas City all around. Not all on the same page, but as to your point, like that's to be expected when you don't have enough blue chip players, and Kelsey's getting older, and a lot of these other players just aren't what they used to be. Who do they have? Let's see who they got real quick.
Oh well, KC is at hosting the Texans, and the Cowboys are at Lions.
Okay.
And Kansas City Texans is Sunday Night Football. So it's basically a playoff game.
It's a very, very big game. Yeah, absolutely. Definitely for Kansas City. If they lose that game, I would say it's all she wrote,
probably because they'd have to win out and get a lot of help. But if you're the Texans, it's also it's needed because you got to keep pace with the Jags and the Colts.
Yep.
And those wild card spots are going to fill up quick in the AFC.
The evening game, Bengals at Ravens. Joe Burrow in his return was great. I don't think they wanted him to throw 46 times, but hey, duty calls. The Ravens continue to look sluggish and not great. 14 points against this Bengals defense is pretty sad.
Dude,
they weren't able to run the ball very effectively. Lamar
had 3 of the 5 turnovers.
Yes. No touchdowns,
2 fumbles
on his
and the pick.
The 2 touchdowns came from like the one big Keaton Mitchell run and then Derrick Henry. So yeah, 1 pick and then a couple fumbles for Lamar Jackson. They also had 2 other fumbles, as Isaiah Likely and Zay Flowers. So offensively, a mess all around. 5 total turnovers, and that's going to lose you games. Meanwhile, Joe Burrow sacked just once. Was efficient with the football, had 2 touchdowns, no picks. And, the Cincinnati Bengals are going to hope to win out and go 9-8 and squeak in the playoffs. It's highly unlikely, but Baltimore, this was a tough one. And this kept now this division in sort of this weird, gross race that nobody seems to want to have a stranglehold on.
I'll say this for the Bengals. It's got to be so frustrating as a Bengals fan because when he's healthy and when they're playing, when he's playing, it's like this team should be a playoff team. Like this team should be,
and that's how we felt last year, right?
Yeah, it's they're the this is their makeup, and so I loved you got to play. I love what he said too. He's like, listen, I'm getting paid a lot of money. I got to go play. I got to go play this game. And so I love him for owning that I'll say for the Bengals, I don't want to spend too much time on it. Talk to me again in 3 weeks if they have won 4 in a row, right? If they're sitting at 7 and 8,
Yeah, then things
like
change.
then we'll really talk about it. For Baltimore, I don't want to be too critical of Lamar because he's a 2-time MVP. He's one of the
hurt.
very
He's
special.
clearly hurt.
It's and that's just it.
Yeah.
To me, it's like he missed a large chunk of the season. That's what got him in the hole. He's come back, but clearly things aren't right. And also, when you miss a chunk, you're you're trying to get back on the same page on the fly, and nothing it feels like it's working. Now the tight ends, he had them going. Likely, and Andrews had 9 of his 17 completions for over 140 yards. But when Hopkins is your leading receiver with 2 catches for 25 yards, wide receiver, and Zay Flowers has 2 catches for 6 yards on 7 targets, that's not good enough. He's a weapon. He's a playmaker. So they got to figure all that out. And then honestly, like it was a historic turnover day for Lamar. I don't think from my outside view of not being a diehard Ravens fan and watching every single second of Lamar's career, I don't think Lamar has many 3 turnover games, to my knowledge. It doesn't seem like a Lamar thing. And so it was just one of those, it happened. Like
Especially without
5
scoring.
turnovers as a team. He had 2 fumbles, 4 fumbles total lost in the game and the interception. It's not great. Baltimore still feels like the team to beat in the AFC North. Like, again, kind of like the Lions-Packers thing. I'm not going to kill Baltimore because you lost at home, like the Lions lost at home against a division rival with a really good quarterback. Like, that's what happens in division games sometimes. So I'm not going to kill them. If it compounds into another loss next week against Pittsburgh, well, then they're in real trouble. And Pittsburgh has a chance to kind of right all of the chaos that we'll talk about coming on up here as Baltimore and Pittsburgh play next week. For the Bengals, their spoiler tour continues at the Bills. That feels like I want to bet the house on Joe Burrow to spoil that game.
Yeah, why not?
So we'll see. The big game for all 4 of those teams coming up next week.
Black Friday. Your Chicago Bears are 9-3. How does that feel to say, man? That is what an awesome turnaround. This season has been everything you could have hoped it would be, I would imagine.
Yeah, at the start of the season, like before the season started, I was feeling good. And then once November started, I was like, all right, I'm feeling better. And then you go 5-0 in November, and that better's turned into my best. I went from good, better, best. I never let it rest until the good gets better and the better gets best. Bears on 3, 1, 2, 3 Bears. I'll keep my and so listen. I said it at work to a couple coworkers. People asked me before the game, like, "How are you feeling?" Like, I said, listen, if you lose on the road to Philadelphia, the defending Super Bowl champions, I'm not going to be upset. Like, it's not going to derail me. But I was like, I think we can win the game. I bet them to win the game. I was like, I think that we can take advantage of a Philly team that's offensively struggling, and the Bears defense is getting healthy at the right moment. Nashawn Wright, who single-handedly figured out the tush push, aka just go in there and strip the ball.
Dude, he's having a hell of a year.
It's an insane year. And he was a practice squad kind of no one guy who had to fill in as Jalen Johnson and Kyler Gordon, 2 high-paid star corners, were both injured 90% of the year. Now all of them are back. And now you have insane depth. And CJ Gardner-Johnson, who was a pickup off the street. We were his 3rd team, and now he's playing like a Pro Bowler. Things just seem to be working. So much so, we're channeling the 85 Bears, but not the defense, the offense. First time since 85, the Bears had 2 100-yard rushers in a game. Walter Payton, and I don't even know the other guy's name.
Matsui? I don't know.
I think it was something like that. And then Monangai and DeAndre Swift. Here's the thing that I also really loved. When you look at Kmet, Burden, and Loveland, they combined for 10 catches, 97 yards, a touchdown. Kmet, Burden, and Loveland, the 2 tight ends, and Burden, wide receiver 3. Those guys are all feeling like we're really working ourselves into the offense. Here's a concern. Your star wide receivers, Moore and Odunze, I don't care who you want to put as one, who at two. They're both stars. They both could be ones. 4 catches for 25 yards on 11 receptions, targets. Ben Johnson's big quote came out yesterday. We're winning in spite of our passing game. He's not sugarcoating it.
Mhm.
But the crazy thing is, even though the passing game was dog shit, Caleb still, like, the throws he made when he made them, that touchdown to Kmet. I mean, that's a guy I'm paying $50 million for a year. I mean, that is star incredible potential. And Caleb didn't lose them the game by any means. The throw to Loveland on that big crucial third down to get to that led to a touchdown. There was so much to love about the way the Bears offense was working. But I did tweet many, many times. You can go back and look at my Twitter. I think I said it 5 or 6 times. If the Bears never passed the ball, I think they would have won the game 40-3. Truly.
Yeah.
Like the only,
I mean, they are the best rushing team in the league currently.
the drives that stalled was when it's like, okay, we should probably start to pass the ball. And
yeah, that being said, though, they're gonna need the passing game to win playoff games.
Yes,
right?
And so let me go back to that. I completely agree. But in some of the worst weather conditions, you're talking about high 20s and then wind gusts of like sustained 40 miles an hour.
Yeah.
Caleb Williams' ball still cut through. If you look at, I think 4 of the incompletions to Moore and Odunze were drops. Islamade Zacchaeus had a bad drop in the end zone. So again, drops are a problem. It's not like I'm panicking like, oh my God, my guy's Kirk Cousins and can't play in this weather. Caleb can play in this weather. But I just think I wish that Ben Johnson would have really just gauged the temperature a little bit more and just said, dude, I should just be calling 55 run plays and we'll win this game 40-3. Now, I get it. You can't be Michigan football in the NFL and win a Super Bowl. But again, I don't think the Bears are a Super Bowl team. I think they have the strong makings of a team that could win multiple playoff games because of the run game and upset some people. I think the Bears have a strong foundation for in a year from now. You should be considering them as a Super Bowl contender or threat. But I do think that I'm not thinking like, oh my God, you have to win the Super Bowl this year. I'm thinking, hey, just keep getting better. And then take your good to your better to your best. And we saw a lot of that. I want to talk really quickly, midway through the third quarter, Dan. I wrote all this down, and I thought this was really interesting. The Bears were up 10-3. And the Bears were dominating the football game. Again, stats say it, your eyes say it, but it's 10-3. Jalen Hurts leads the Eagles down, touchdown pass to A.J. Brown, 10-9. They missed the extra point. After the missed extra point, on the next drive, I mean, it was a huge touchdown. It felt like the Bears lost all momentum. They were outplaying them, and now here we go. It's a game, and the Eagles are in it. On that next drive, what happens? Well, that's when Caleb throws the interception on the screen pass. And again, it was a tip ball. It was a hell of a play. It was not like Caleb, oh my God, what are you doing, Caleb? It's not like when we're talking about quarterbacks like Trevor Lawrence, like you're just not seeing it. Like Caleb saw it. It was a great throw. Just the defense made a better play. You know what I mean? Like sometimes in basketball, like good defense just beats really good offense. That's what that was. So all the momentum is now with the Eagles, right? You get the touchdown, you're 10-9, you get the interception, and then what happens? As the Eagles are about to score, to go up and take the lead, it's the failed tush push, and Deshaun Wright gets the ball back for the Bears. The Bears then immediately go score. And so credit to the Chicago Bears defense for stepping up when they absolutely needed to step up. And credit for the Chicago Bears offense for then, all right, that was ugly and it sputtered, but as soon as you get the ball back, you go score and you right your wrong, right? And then the Bears, they went up 17-9, and it just felt like it was over from there. They scored the touchdown to Kmet 24-9, and it's over. It's over. I'll say this: the Chicago Bears have an identity. I don't know how many teams in the NFL right now you can say have a really clear identity. The Chicago Bears have a really clear identity with how physical and the run game and that guard center guard. And I had to hear all the shit the last 2 years. Oh my God, the Bears traded back and let the Eagles get Jalen Carter, and then they took Darnell Wright from Tennessee. Watch the film. Don't let me tell you. Watch the film of Darnell Wright and Jalen Carter this Black Friday. Watch the film.
Yeah.
Credit to Poles.
That's kind of on the nose. That's pretty funny.
Darnell Wright has been phenomenal. And I think part of it is, well, when you have Joe Thuney and Dahlman and Jonah Jackson, those veterans who play really good football, he's learning so much from them, and they're helping him so much. And now his young talent is also just flourishing. Ozzie Trapillo looks like now he's the guy at left tackle, the second-round pick. He played really well. 0 pressures given up in this game. Things are looking really good for the 9-3 first-place Chicago Bears. They are 9-1 in their last 10, 5-0 in November. They are at Green Bay. We'll talk about that coming up a little bit. The Eagles, Monday Night Football, have to travel all the way to the Chargers with Herbert coming off a hand surgery. We don't know if he's going to play or not. But listen, if I'm Philly, you can speak on the stand. I'm not panicking. I know they're booed after every possession, which is just hilarious. They're the defending Super Bowl champs. But that's how Philly fans are. It's starting to feel, though, a little bit more like it did the year after they lost the Super Bowl, where they were, 11-0 and then ended up
and then
losing.
Had that collapse.
And it's starting to feel a little bit like that. Like Saquon Barkley, 13 carries, 56 yards. I mean, again, this is a Bears defense that I know they're getting healthier, but they gave up like 200 yards rushing to Ashton Jeanty earlier in the year. Like, it's not working offensively for Philadelphia. I don't have a ton of confidence.
Their offense is really struggling. It's not remotely consistent enough, and you got to be concerned. Obviously, they have the talent and the defensive chops to, get comfortably into the playoffs and probably win a game, but I don't know if I would consider them a Super Bowl contender given the landscape of the NFC right now. And, they got to travel to a pissed off Chargers team next week. Now, we'll see what Herbert's injury looks like. They got to travel to Buffalo at the end of the year, and they got 2 division games against the Commanders. I bet they lose one of those games. I would put money on it. The way Mariota's playing with the Commanders right now is not terrible. So I would think that Washington can steal one of those. And so, yeah, I mean, at this point, 11-6, 10-7 seems to be the area right now for Philly, but they're still Philly. Like, they're going to make the playoffs. And so, I'm not super concerned about them making the postseason. It's more about, do they actually have it in them to make a run? I don't see it. Yeah, especially with the way the Rams are playing. My God.
And the way the Bears, like, they just manhandled him. Like, it was embarrassing for Philadelphia. Yeah. It truly was, like, embarrassing. I don't know if it was an effort thing, like what it was. If it's the defense is just giving up because the offense isn't scoring. So they're just like, we can't keep doing this. Like, it's one of those, maybe it's a bunch of a million different things, because Philly on paper has,
they're not used to getting run on like that.
On paper, Philly has the best roster probably still in the NFL. Yeah. And if you watch that game, it looked like Alabama and their offense versus, the Citadel. Like, I mean, it looked like a bunch of 5-star prospects versus a bunch of guys who were no names. And that's just crazy for all the star power that Philly has. But it certainly makes me feel good about the identity of the good, better, best 9-3 first place Chicago Bears.
No, they're flying high right now. It's pretty great. I'm enjoying the ride as well. It's awesome to see. And I think it's good for the league when the Blue Bloods are good.
Blue Bloods.
It's been a long time coming for the Bears. So I'm happy for you. I'm happy for Chicago. And, obviously the story's not written yet. You still got to go out and make it happen. But, it'd be shocked, if they somehow miss the playoffs. So, like, this is already a playoff team. And
if they miss the playoffs, I'd be very upset from here on. I'll say it now. If they miss
Yeah, I
the
mean,
playoffs,
they'd
I'll
have
be
to have
upset.
an epic collapse.
Be an epic collapse. And that it doesn't seem like a Ben Johnson is going to let that happen the way he coaches and the way he manages, but that would be an epic collapse. And that would probably mean that there was some really bad quarterback play. I haven't seen bad quarterback play yet, so I'm not banking on that happening. But listen, now you're 9. I'd love to be an 11-win team, at least 12-win team. I think is very on the table.
Yeah, 100%. All right, let's start to take a look at the landscape, shall we?
Let's do it.
Let me cue this up. For those watching on YouTube, we'll let you follow along here. For those listening,
love it.
I'll kind of lay out the scope here. So we'll go through the AFC first. The New England Patriots are the 1 seed. They're 11-2, incredibly. Second seed is the Denver Broncos. Jacksonville Jaguars are leading the AFC South now with an 8-4 record. They're the 3. And right now, the Baltimore Ravens at 6-6 are tied with Pittsburgh, but they have the 4 seed because they have the current tiebreaker conference record. Chargers are the 5 seed at 8-4. Colts are 8-4. They're the 6 seed. And the final seed right now for the wild card spot is the Buffalo Bills. We've got the Houston Texans, the Steelers, the Chiefs right there in the hunt, all with 6 wins as well. Texans, have 7. So that's where it stands right now. Those are the players in the hunt. Obviously, Mark, Pittsburgh's got the best chance here, probably. Well, the Texans do as well in terms of the division. So the Texans can still win the division. The Steelers can still win the division. You mentioned it before. You think only one team is coming out of the North in the playoffs, right? And that seems to be most likely here.
It feels that's most likely, especially because as of right now, Pittsburgh or Baltimore getting to 10 wins for either team is going to be an uphill battle.
For sure.
And I think the Texans, the Colts, the Jaguars have much easier roads to 10 wins. You could get 2 teams from the AFC South, along with, I think, 2 teams from the AFC West. The Chiefs and the Chargers, I feel like it's either one of those 2 teams. I don't see the Chiefs, Chargers, and the Broncos all making it.
Right.
It has to be either the Chiefs or the Chargers. They have, I think, still games against each other coming on up here. And so, Dan,
look at that real quick. So, like the Chargers' upcoming schedule here. Now, granted, Justin Herbert's banged up. Knowing him, you'd be surprised that if he's going to miss too much time, but he might miss a week. I mean, he just had a procedure done last week.
Yeah, they're Monday Night Football hosting the Eagles.
Yeah, the Eagles, and then it's at the Chiefs, at the Cowboys, Texans, Broncos.
That's a tough
That might be
schedule.
the worst stretch of any team in the NFL.
Yeah,
the remaining 5 weeks. That is really tough, and we're talking about a team that's without their 2 tackles. That's weathered multiple injuries across the board. That's going to be a tall order, man. I don't know if the Chargers can pull it out, to be honest.
I'll say this, their season to me comes down to the next 2 weeks. If you can beat the Eagles when the Eagles are reeling at home, and then you can beat the Chiefs, then you should be fine. Like you should be, because you've eliminated the Chiefs probably at that point in time, and you've got yourself to 10 wins. And so you should be okay. So, they have the ability to take care of it in front of them. I don't know if they will, but a lot of it will depend on Justin Herbert and his health and their ability to run the ball, because Vidal was a stud this past weekend. Again, it was the Raiders. So can you do it against the Eagles? We'll see. The Bears just did against the Eagles. Maybe the Chargers can too. The Colts to me are really interesting, Dan, because again, if you bring up their remaining schedule, they've lost 3 of 4, and they were a team that felt like they were running away with a division. Now they find themselves in the 6th seed and in, I think, some real trouble, especially when you consider the fact that they just lost to a division rival, and they're about to play a division rival. I think it's
on the road.
Colts Jags on the road. If they lose that game, 2 straight losses to division rivals, that'll have lost 4 of 5. And then all of a sudden, if you're the Colts, you probably might be on the outside looking in by the time we check on the playoff picture this time next week. So
yeah, and they play Seattle after that. They got to travel and go play Seattle. So then they play the 49ers, and then they end the season Jacksonville at Houston.
So they're playing playoff teams the rest of the way. They're playing
playoff teams, and 3 divisional matchups.
Yeah, that's a tall order, really tall order. And Daniel Jones dealing with a broken leg. Like, good for him. Like, he's obviously didn't look as mobile, but he still could sling the rock around. I don't know how he's doing it, but
yeah, that is impressive.
It's wild. If the Colts miss the playoffs,
that would be pretty epic.
It'd be a pretty bad collapse, and I think it would obviously hurt Daniel Jones's chance of getting that Darnold contract. That's for sure.
Yeah, no question. Let's look at the Chiefs real quick. Their schedule is Texans next week, then it's Chargers at Tennessee, Denver at Raiders. So definitely a doable.
Well, yeah, they have Titans there,
but again, they have to win. They have to win 4 of those, right?
So you'd think to yourself, if you're the Chiefs, the most important games are obviously the ones you can't lose: the Titans and the Raiders. Those have to be W's. You have to get revenge against the Broncos, right? So those are to me are the 3 must wins. And then you look at Chargers and Texans. Chargers and Texans. Well, the Texans, obviously, you'd like to beat because they're ahead of you in the standings. And if you're going to be battling for wildcard spots, you want the head-to-head. And then the Chargers, obviously, really important because it's a divisional opponent. And again, head-to-head, and they're ahead of you record-wise. I truly feel as though even if the Chiefs lose one of the next 2, they're in real trouble, even if they win out after that, because I just don't know what kind of tiebreakers they'll have. They don't have the tiebreaker over the Bills. If they lose the Texans, they don't have the tiebreaker over the Texans. Say they beat the Chargers and finish out undefeated and get to 10-7. Well, what kind of tiebreakers do they have? They're going to have to hope some other teams really collapse, like a Colts, maybe a Bills, you know what I mean? Maybe a Chargers. Yeah. And that's asking a lot when you don't have destiny in your own hands like that.
The Bills is interesting because they've been one of those teams that's been up and down.
Yeah.
This win this past week, and we can talk a little bit about Bills Steelers here now. That was a huge win for Buffalo because at 8-4, the division's not out of reach, actually, despite the Patriots currently being the 1 seed. And if you're Buffalo, this was an opportunity to grab some momentum here for this, final stretch. I thought that despite a rough game overall statistically from Josh Allen, the Bills were able to do what they've done a lot this season, and that's run the football extremely well. And that's an important quality to have as you go into the postseason. They've got Cincinnati on deck. Like, that defense, the Bills should be able to put up another 200 yards rushing on the ground against Cincinnati's defense. Then comes the true test when they go on the road to New England. They go on the road to Cleveland and that really good defense. And then they play the Eagles before ending the season against the Jets, which should be a guaranteed win. So Bengals, Patriots, Browns, Eagles, not the easiest road, but if they start with that win next week, we're looking at a team that's 9-4, staring down 2 divisional games to end the season here, and an opportunity. I think they match up well with Philadelphia, for instance. So
yeah,
the 10 wins is very, very much in play for Buffalo, and I think they get to 11. I could see this team going 11-6.
I feel confident.
Not being a 7 seed, but more like a 5 seed, because I don't know if they'll win the division.
They're not going to win the division, but I feel I feel very confident the Bills will be one of the 3 wild card. Like, if you had to, gun to my head this morning, right now, I would say the Bills and the Texans, to me, feel like wild card teams. And then
The Colts probably out.
I think the Colts probably fall out. The Jags win the division, and then it's Chargers or Chiefs. Like it's just which one of those two teams, has the collapse, which one doesn't.
Well, it'd be Chargers or the Texans then, because if you're saying the Jags are going to win the division, or did you say the Jags will?
I think the Jags will win the division. I think.
Yeah. So then
I think the Texans
are
one
win. Wild card team, and there's 2 spots available.
So I think
for
I would
the
go
Texans and I guess you're right.
Here's my thing is I think the Texans are going to win Sunday night against the Chiefs. I really do. That defensive line and the Chiefs are going to probably be missing both tackles. I think it could be a very, very ugly game, low scoring, and the Texans will find a way to win. And so I think you're going to see a 10-7 Chiefs team that will maybe steal a spot from the Chargers. That's like their only hope. But the Bills, to me, right now I think the Bills and Texans are better teams. Like they're deserving teams. They're teams that can make a real run. So I'd like to see them get in. Whether that'll happen or not, we'll have to wait to see. But
yeah,
I'd rather see the Texans in than the Colts. And I think right now I'd rather see the Chiefs in than the Chargers, just because the Chargers, again, are so beat up. And at least if Mahomes is in it, that's going to create a lot of chaos maybe and a lot of intrigue going into, wild card weekend for sure.
Yeah, no question. The Steelers, like their pathway now is it starts this week. They have to beat Baltimore.
You got to beat Baltimore.
If they do that, they take the division lead once again. And then Pittsburgh is, staring down matchups with Cleveland, Miami, Detroit, and Baltimore again the rest of the way. So there's still more business to take care of, but it does start this week. It's a must win, obviously, for Pittsburgh. And just to talk about the game very briefly, because I'd rather toss it to you and get your thoughts at this point, because I'm sounding like a broken record at this point throughout this year and really the last year and a half with Pittsburgh. Like I'm of the firm mindset that nothing's going to legitimately change for this team unless Mike Tomlin is no longer the head coach. I just think that this is what you get with them, paired with the fact that they just don't have a franchise quarterback, and so you're in purgatory until that happens. To get run on that way after building your team this offseason with the sole goal of stopping the run because you got routinely embarrassed down the stretch last season, capped off with a 250-yard rushing performance in the playoffs by Baltimore against you. The fact that you dedicated all these resources to stopping the run and that you've been so wildly inconsistent at doing that. They shut down Jonathan Taylor. They stopped the Bears run for a good portion of the Chicago game as well. And then you juxtapose that with performances like this past week and other times this season. It's mind-boggling. It's extremely frustrating. And Buffalo rushed for 250. I don't know what the exact total was. I'll have to look it up. Over 250 yards. That's the most rushing yards at home for Pittsburgh since 1975. 50 years. The worst rushing performance. And that was the Bills and O.J. Simpson in 1975 that they gave up more. So that just shows you how, once again, Tomlin talked about how historic this defense could be in the offseason. His words are constantly getting thrown in his face now because they're
historically bad
for all the wrong reasons this year. I mean, they are truly bad, and it's mind-boggling. They just released Darius Slay today, by the way.
Saw that.
It's they're a team. They're completely lost. I truly think the season is over, and that even if they win this division, Mark, and go to the playoffs, the season's still over. Like, none of this matters. That's the thing. And at this point, I'm in a place where I'm being dead serious. I prefer they go 6-11 and just have this all be a dumpster fire. I'd rather that happen than them win the division, to be quite honest with you, because if they win the division, I don't see this team winning a playoff game, much less doing anything serious with it. And that's just going to be fodder for Art Rooney the second to say, this is why I don't fire Tomlin. We just won the division, and then we're just going to repeat the cycle. So
Yeah.
those are my 2 cents. I just wanted to lay that out there, but I am curious, like, from not an outsider per se, because you do the show with me every week, but as somebody who's not like the dialed in to the Steelers as much, like, what do you make of this team and the state of Pittsburgh in general? Like, where how do you
Well,
see this team? Is this a team that you would fear in the postseason? You know, like, I'm just curious.
I just wonder who's in more turmoil in the state of Pennsylvania. Is it Pittsburgh or Philadelphia? Because they both seem like they want, you know, uh,
Wholesale chain.
French Revolution off with their heads, let them eat cake type of, uh, chaos happening in the state of Pennsylvania for professional football. My thing is, I was shocked by the TJ Watt stuff after the game. TJ is like JJ and the Watt family. Like, they feel very much like the Mannings, right? Like, we are stewards of the game, and that's why he fits so much with the Rooneys. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so for him to basically say, I've never had a coaching staff just let something happen like this, where they ran the same play over and over and
Yeah,
over
he
again.
said, "I've never seen a team run the same play over and over." The Alex Kozora, we've had on the show, did a film
Yeah.
breakdown. They ran that play, that running play, 23 times. They ran the exact same play 23 times. I can't even recall a team doing that, and they were successful. I don't know the exact numbers,
That's
but
what I
90%
do.
of them.
That's what I do in Madden, and I lose and I'm
Yeah,
not good. It's so that's like concerning, right? Like, from
for sure.
if I'm trying to figure out like what Pittsburgh should be doing next, like, that's really concerning. I think.
Because I do think, as much as I rail on the coaching staff, like, that is a player problem too. Like, these guys are not executing, and, like, how is that happening when you've got, all pros scattered across the
Well,
defense?
and
Like, how is this happening?
dudes who are all paid, like, they're
Yes,
all
correct.
paid.
Yeah,
It's not like one of them is paid, the others are jealous. Like, it's like these dudes are all well paid, like, and appreciatingly paid. And so I get why you're saying I'd rather go 6-11. I totally get it. I still think that this is a team that winning the division is absolutely in the cards because of the way the AFC North is at
yeah,
right now.
definitely in the
And I
cards.
still think this is a team that if they win the division, that means they'll now have to play good football down the stretch to win the division. Even if that means 9-8. From 6-6 to 9-8, they're probably like, that's still like, okay, better football than what they've been playing, which is what they've lost 4 of the last 5 or something like that.
Yeah, 5 of the last 6, actually.
And so I think that, well, I wouldn't be scared to play Pittsburgh in the playoffs. Um, I feel as though they have pieces. You see it at times, and obviously, you have the names, right? The TJ Watts, they can maybe can they wreck a game? Well, that needs to start happening. Like, if
The
I'm if
Bills had 2 of their starting tackles were both out in this
Yeah.
game, and they ran for 250 yards
Yeah.
and didn't give up a sack. Like, what?
It's
That's
ugly.
crazy. Like,
It
TJ
feels
Watt can't be absent on the box score in a game
Yeah,
like
and
that.
that's like, so then you go to, is it a player or is it a coaching thing? And I think, kind of like in Philadelphia,
All the above.
I think it's all the above. Like in Philadelphia, I think it's guys who are really talented who are losing interest and losing um, faith. And then I think it's the same kind of thing in Pittsburgh. I think it's guys who are really talented, but they're just kind of all looking around like, um, here's an example. I know this is a weird one, but I'm going to go Colin Coward on everyone here now. I did a play at the Quincy Community Theater 2 years ago, Clue, the play,
Yeah.
based off of the movie. As it was a great show, and the actors gave great performances. but it was at a time during the theater's history where there was a lot of kind of change and some upheaval. There's new management and a very talented director. And the director was really frustrated, like the actors, because the set wasn't being built, the props weren't being given. Everyone kind of around, there was kind of a failure from leadership where it's like, where is the where is the leader of the theater to come in and say, hey, you get scene shop, do your job, props, do your job, costumes, do your job. Actors are doing our job, directors doing their job. But there was a moment where I said to myself, wow, it's a day before opening night and we're about to open this show, and the set for the kitchen doesn't even have like pots or pans or things like that. It's a miracle we even have like a set like at all. And I'm like, at what point in time do I just go, I'm just gonna come in and hang pots and pans, and I don't even care. I'm just gonna grab a drill and hang some pots
Right.
and pans.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Uh-huh.
I didn't do it because I'm like, well, it's not my job.
Yeah.
And I guess what I'm trying to say is, I think what's happening in like a Pittsburgh and a Philly is things like that, where you're like, if I'm TJ Watt, at what point do I go, I know what they're about to run the same play again, but my head coach or my defense is calling this, so I'm going to do what they call, versus I have to take it on myself to be maybe a leader and to change the play caller. You know what I mean? Like, and so it's a lot of that. Hey, I'm covering my ass. Coach asked me to do this. I did this, and look at it didn't work. And then it's like
Yeah.
coach going, hey, but you're TJ Watt. Like, I need you to help me. Like, so it feels like there's some of that. Does that make sense? That analogy where you're like,
Yeah.
at some
Yeah.
point, it's like everyone notices there's a problem, but if no one does anything about the problem, who's
Right.
to really blame?
Who?
It's
Yeah.
kind of
And no one's
everyone's
taking
fault.
it upon themselves, and part of that too is you've had a lot of turnover on the defenses. There's been a lot of patchwork that's been done over the years, right? There's a lot of high profile names on this defense, but outside of the defensive front, the linebackers and the defensive backs have all been new additions over the last few years. I honestly think it's a bunch of guys that have excelled previously in their careers and have basically returned to a new team and said, hey, well, I'm going to play the way I know how to play, and they're not playing as a unit. They're playing as individuals, a part of a unit,
Yeah.
right? And that's a big problem.
Yep.
Yeah, there's communication issues, and then you pair that with the fact that their defensive coordinator and their scheme's not great. That's a recipe for disaster, and you bang your head against the wall a lot with this team. But all right,
Wanna
let's
look
get
at
to
the
the
NFC?
NFC here.
Yeah, the NFC's I think easier, Dan. I think you'll agree with me. I think the teams, we kind of know the teams. It's just what place they're going to be in. In the
Right.
AFC, you go all the way down to 10 and you get to the Chiefs and you're like, they're still very live. When you go to the NFC,
Yeah, the standings do feel like a little bit already,
like we
baked
know
and
the
ready.
teams. It's just everyone's got to find their spot.
Yeah, yeah. So obviously your Bears are the 1 seed right now, which is awesome. That's amazing to say. The Rams are the 2 seed, both 9-3. The Eagles atop their division at 8-4, although that's getting a little more tenuous of a grasp. They're going to have to start to get some wins here. The Buccaneers, division leaders at 7-5. Bucky Irving's back. They are starting. Chris Godwin's back. I'm thinking that the Bucs are starting to get their mojo back yet again.
For sure.
The Seattle Seahawks are the 5 seed at 9-3, a 5 seed, 9-3. The Packers 8-3-1 as the 6, and the 49ers round out the last wild card spot at 9-4 are the San Francisco 49ers. So on the bubble are the Detroit Lions, the Dallas Cowboys, and the Carolina Panthers.
Yeah. So like what I was saying, if you go back down to the 9, 10, and 8, 9, and 10 spot. So
Yep.
let's just look at it. Carolina can get in if they win their division. They have games against the Bucs. The Bucs have games against Carolina. Those two teams will figure that out, right?
Yep.
So that they're not a wild card team. The Cowboys, I think,
incredible win, by the way, though, for Carolina, because I know we're
really
not going to
great
talk
win.
about the game much.
No.
Huge upset win, like big time game for
Ginormous.
that team. This is
And Bryce Young. I
yeah,
mean,
he looked
he's
good.
he's earned the confidence to be the starter next year. And
Yep.
then that'll be fourth year. And then you figure out if you're going to pick up his fifth year option based on the play next year. I also think they
They
found
get
their
to play the
coach.
Bucks twice, so
Yes. So
that's
yeah,
everything.
that's everything. And they also found their coach, like in Canales. I also don't like that's why I'm not panicking on the Rams. Like I still think the Rams are elite and they're really good.
Oh, I still think they're the best team in the NFL.
They had couple fluky turnovers. The Matt Stafford
Yeah.
like interception for the touchdown. And on the road against a team that's really fighting in Carolina and is beaten some good teams. They've laid some eggs, but they've also beaten some good teams and put some good performances.
Yep.
Dallas is interesting. I think Dallas absolutely is alive for either the division or the wild card. And so you got to keep your eye on them. The Lions, again, absolutely alive for the division of the wild card. And when you scroll up, that's where it starts to feel, to me, it feels like, well, Seattle is a playoff team, it feels like. Okay.
Yes, I agree.
Green Bay is a playoff team, it feels like, right? The
Yeah.
Niners are a team that I don't necessarily feel like they are a playoff team. I think they are playing good football. I think Purdy and that offense since Purdy's been back has been kind of all over the place, except for Christian McCaffrey. He's been kind of the stalwart of that offense. But I will say, as beat up as this Niners defense is, they're still playing hard for Saleh, and the offense against a really good Browns defense did enough to win in a convincing fashion. So,
and they've got 3 home games
the
rest of the season, and then their 1 away game is in a dome at Indy.
Yes,
I do think this is a playoff team, but it's hard when you talk about those teams on the bubble. I'm like, it feels weird leaving Detroit out of the playoff race, but I currently don't see who I can replace them with, really.
Well,
It's
starting to feel like, depending on how things shake out, maybe the NFC East, it's the division winner and that's it.
Yeah.
And so that's going to be a really interesting development to watch over the next couple of weeks. So I agree. I mean, the
NFC South.
Yeah, the Niners,
right? Those 2 divisions.
The Niners, the Seahawks, and the Rams all battling for the actual division. And it feels like the losers of the division absolutely feel like playoff teams as of now. If you scroll up a little bit more, Bucks, we talked about that. They're either the 4th seed or they're not in. So I feel like they'll get in. Eagles, I feel like, again, they're going to be either the 3 seed or maybe they're out. I don't know if the Eagles is a wild card team. If the Eagles don't win the division, I fear they won't have enough wins to then make the wild card. Does that make sense?
Yeah, I wonder what their tiebreaker situations are. I'm gonna try and.
Who have they lost to already this year? So they've lost to the Bears. That hurts their tiebreaker.
Yeah.
They lost to Dallas. That hurts their tiebreaker. Who else?
Let me see here.
They lose to Green
They
Bay.
lost to the Giants as well.
Was it
they
Green
lost
Bay?
to Denver.
Oh, Denver.
And that's it. So yeah,
okay.
their one other loss was to Denver.
And who else is on
3
Philly's?
of their 4 losses are NFC, and if they do lose down the stretch here, I guess to their credit or to their benefit, they play 3 AFC teams here the rest of the way.
Oh,
so,
really? What's their schedule like?
Chargers next. Then it's Raiders, Commanders, Bills, Commanders.
Okay, so they have to win if they'll
next 2 weeks.
I've decided they'll win their division and they'll get in because they'll beat the Raiders and then you got to sweep the Commanders. So if you can do that,
sweep the Commanders.
I don't know, but that's what I'm saying. That's their path. Who cares about the other games? You could punt on the Chargers game, but I don't know if you can because mentally Philly might explode. But that's their path.
Yeah,
their path to 11 wins, and I don't think Dallas can get to 11 wins. That's going to be that they have to go undefeated the rest of the way. That's asking a lot.
It's a tall order.
That's a really tall order with that improving, but still, shaking.
So we feel like the Eagles are probably going to be the 3 or 4 seed.
I have a feeling that's starting to feel like it will.
Yeah,
and then maybe Dallas is on the outside looking in, unless either the Bears, Seattle, San Francisco, or the Packers collapse. And I don't see any of those things happening right now. I see them maybe the fact that they're all at 9 wins, they all could easily get to 11.
Right, right.
And that's still a pretty bad collapse, only winning 2 and 5 down the
Yeah,
stretch.
2
You know
and
what I mean?
3, yeah.
2 and 3 down the stretch. So that's still not that's limping into the playoffs, but you get to 11 wins and you have enough distance over Dallas to where you should be safe, especially with the Bears having beaten Dallas. I'm not necessarily worried about that. The Bears will play the Niners, so they'll have that tiebreaker figured out. And then the Bears obviously will play. They have 2 games against the Packers and 2 games, and then a game against the Lions and a game against the Browns. Very good Browns defense.
So how do
So
you feel about the Bears' chances of holding on to the 1 seed come season end?
I don't give a shit really about the 1 seed. I
Well,
want
yeah,
the
home field
division.
advantage, you don't
No,
give a
no,
shit?
but I want the division. Like I want the division.
Absolutely,
I want the
absolutely.
division.
But
Like
that would mean,
because
that
the
would
fact that
be
you have the Packers twice and the Lions. Those are the only games I really care about. I don't care about the Niners. I don't care about the Browns. I want to go 3-0 against Green Bay and Detroit.
yeah,
Um,
all starts this week.
and then you'd be a 12-win team who probably still might have the 1 seed. You know what I mean?
Right, right.
Now, depending on what the Niners do, if the Niners beat you and they go on a run, they might then have that advantage over you. Statistically, if both teams fulfill their own destiny, I've heard like the Rams cannot gain advantage over the Bears based on like all of the strength of schedule type of things. So
Yeah.
the Bears have a huge the fact that they have the head to head over the Eagles. The Rams statistically, if they have the same record, cannot jump the Bears. That's huge, right? For the 1 seed. Then
Here's the problem.
you have to worry about Green Bay, which if you handle business and beat Green Bay, the 1 seed could be the Chicago Bears. Like there's the path.
Yeah,
It's still it's there.
the path is there, and that in and of itself is awesome.
Yeah.
Here's the bad news for Chicago. The Rams' remaining schedule, they get the
It's very
Cardinals
easy.
twice
Yeah.
and the Falcons.
So they're
So
probably
that
guaranteed
should be
3.
3 that
So
should
they're
get them to
12.
11 or 12
12.
wins right there. And then it's Lions and then at Seattle.
Yeah, the Lions have such a hard schedule. The Lions aren't making the playoffs. I don't know if the
The
Lions.
Lions are in a brutal situation. But
They've
yeah, I mean,
got to win. They've got to beat
the
Dallas.
Rams could easily split those 2 games. They could easily win both those games. But let's just say that the Rams are not going 5-0 the rest of the way. They split those games.
4-1 is very
It
possible.
looks like they might very well be a 13-win team.
Yeah, 4-1. Yeah, so the Rams. So the one, and again, like I said, the 1 seed would be incredible.
Icing on the
It
cake.
would be the cherry, the nuts, and the chocolate syrup on the sundae. I mean, it's all of the toppings. I want the division, and I feel like the Bears, if they get the division, will have the 2 seed. Which, if you scroll down, the 2 plays the 7. Which then you'd be playing at home against probably the Packers.
Yeah. Yeah.
After having
beaten
beaten them maybe twice. Oh my God, they're gonna
Yeah.
kill it. We have a lot of fun football ahead of us, Dan. I know we're getting way ahead of ourselves, but that's exciting. Can I end with can we start to wrap up? I have a question for you.
Definitely.
I did write out a couple of trivia. Let me get these 2 trivia questions first, right?
I would love to hear it.
3 wide receivers have 1,000+ yards on the season so far. Can you name the 3?
Jackson Smith and Jigba.
He's number 1, 1336.
Yeah, George Pickens.
Second, 1142.
Is Puka
1019.
or no? Because
Puka
he's
Nacua. Well, it was Puka Nacua.
It is
Puka.
okay. 'Cause he
1019.
even missed games, didn't he? He missed a couple games.
I think
Wow.
3.
Wow.
And so there you go. 4 running backs have 1,000 yards already. Can you name the 4 that have 1,000 yards?
I feel like that one's going to be a little bit tougher. James Cook.
Yes, he's second with 1228.
Jonathan Taylor's first.
He's first with 1282. Cook is gaining.
This is where it gets a little hairy because
they're big
got a lot of
names.
injuries.
You'll be like kicking yourself. Big names. Neither team is in the playoff picture right now. One we talked a lot about. The other one,
Bijan Robinson.
It is not Bijan. I think he was.
He
I think
catches
he was
too
fifth. I
many.
think he was 5th. I think he's just under 1,000.
It's not Brees Hall. Devon Achane.
Devon Achane, yes. Well, he's third with 1,034, and there's a guy with 1,019.
He's so good, man. Achane is so good.
There's a guy with 1,019 who I'd argue right now is, in my opinion, I think maybe the best back in football. Or you
Christian McCaffrey.
No.
Currently
non-playoff team, currently out of the playoffs. We talked a lot about them though.
Oh my gosh. Hold on, I just need to
take a second.
Yeah, it's not okay, so it's not anyone from the north.
He went away.
Not Kamara. It's not it's Rico Dowdle. It's Rico Dowdle.
It's Gibbs.
It's Gibbs. Oh, it is from the north. Okay, okay.
Jahmyr Gibbs.
And yeah, they're not in the play. I automatically put the Lions in the playoff picture, but yeah, okay.
Okay, and then finally, this is my question I wanted to pose to you. If the playoffs started today, no Kansas City, no Houston, no Pittsburgh, no Bengals, no Lions, no Cowboys, no Vikings, who do you think of those teams, if they played a tournament of the non-playoff teams, is the best of the non-playoff teams?
Ooh.
So remember, that's KC, Houston, Pittsburgh, Bengals, Lions, Cowboys, Vikings.
I would probably still take Detroit, but Texans. I might lean the Texans, to be honest. Their defense is so damn good.
What's crazy is I think the Chiefs are the fourth best of the non-playoff teams. I would agree. I think Houston, Lions, and Cowboys I'd take over the Chiefs right now.
Yeah. Yes. And that's mainly NFC teams that we're throwing in there, which is why I would still feel confident in if KC got into the playoffs, I would be like, okay, I might take KC to go to the conference championship minimum here.
Yeah.
Just because of the AFC landscape.
But I also think it's interesting
you're right.
When you throw the Bengals in there, like the Bengals in a scenario like that, where you just put them in.
Well, they just score 45
Very dangerous. Yeah. Yeah, no, I'm with you. I think those teams were really interesting.
Notice how Pittsburgh isn't.
It's not a non-thought.
Yeah, no, it's not.
But I think when you look at the Lions, the Cowboys, Houston, and Kansas City, those are four teams that I think on any given Sunday could win anywhere against anyone.
Yep.
And there are also four teams that have proven they could lose anywhere against anyone, and that's kind of why they're on this bubble. But they're all four teams that if come end of January, we're talking about the Lions, Cowboys, Houston, or Kansas City having won a playoff game, I wouldn't be shocked. I would not be shocked by that at all. But they're currently out of the playoffs right now.
Yep. Fascinating stuff. What a landscape we've got to deal with. Hey, I went to refresh Twitter real quick to make sure I didn't lose any breaking news that happened over the course of the show.
Yeah.
And the first tweet I get is Warren Sharp saying Mike Tomlin has now gone 62 straight games with 7 or fewer points in the first quarter. 62 straight games. They have never scored more than 7 points in the first quarter.
Not even just 10, like a touchdown, a field goal.
Correct. 64 games, including the playoffs. That is the longest streak ever by a head coach before they were fired in NFL history. That's what he writes, before they were fired, which is a funny caveat to put in there. But yeah, dude, 64 straight games.
They're not getting
ever scoring double-digit points, more than 7. He didn't even get like a touchdown, a 2-point conversion once in 62 straight games.
What is it going to take? And what's crazy is.
And that's why I'm saying you can't blame the Matt Canadas, you can't blame the quarterback woes, because we've cycled through 8 of all of those over the years.
Tomlin,
and it's all still the same.
Which is crazy, because if I am the Cardinals, if I am the Dolphins, if I am
the
Titans, I would hire Mike Tomlin to get me to 500 and to stabilize my franchise in a fucking heartbeat. In a heartbeat.
Yeah.
But it just feels like it's time in Pittsburgh. And honestly, with the way the Ravens season's gone too, it's like it kind of feels like maybe with Harbaugh, it's
Harbaugh will change the scenery too. Yeah.
What are we doing with these two guys? I think the problem is Harbaugh's got a little bit more recent success, like MVPs, 13-win seasons. So it feels a little less pressure on that, but it's
Yeah, and
interesting.
you don't want to rock the boat with a Hall of Fame quarterback.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah, if he's happy, you keep him happy.
Yeah, for sure.
Fun stuff.
All right, that does it for our look at Week 13 and our look at the playoff standings. An exciting slate coming up here for Week 14. We'll have, as always, a full recap for you next week. Stay tuned.